All right, what's up, guys? We've got another episode of the Growth by Sean podcast. I am joined by Aaron Anniballi today. So, Aaron, what's up? How you doing?
What's up, Sean, man? I'm great, man. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. So, me and Aaron got connected through Mike Source, who just knows everyone, and now we're here. So,
Somebody like Mike, man, knows everybody in the world. It's crazy.
he really does. I wanna get to the point where I can like know as many people as Mike does, honestly, because
It's
it's
crazy because I thought I knew a lot of people, but man, that dude knows a lot of people.
Yeah, like legit, I think anything that you need in life, like he would have you covered with somebody.
Oh no, 100%.
From
100%.
like handyman, plumber, like I don't think it'd matter.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Soares knows somebody at least. If he doesn't know them directly, he knows somebody that knows somebody.
Yeah, no, for sure. So how I like to start the podcast is just a little bit about you, kind of as we were chatting beforehand. Just a little bit about you. Either where you're at now or a little bit about your past, maybe a little bit about what you do or who you are. You can kind of freeball it. So whatever you want to share with us is good with me.
Cool. Sounds good, bro. I appreciate the platform. I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate meeting you. Currently, right now, I'm a high school English special education teacher at Milford High School. I'm also the varsity basketball coach at Blackstone Millville Regional High School. Where also I coach JV field hockey as well. I do a bunch of personal one-on-one training as well outside of all that stuff. That's kind of what I do during the summer or my spare time, things like that. Um, Pretty much my love for all of this started with the game of basketball. If it wasn't for the game of basketball, I don't think you and I would be here on this podcast together. It's kind of really changed my whole life, man. It got me a college degree, got me to class in high school, kept me out of trouble in middle school. I first moved to Milford in sixth grade, which is where I met Mike. I grew up in Framingham. I grew up with my grandmother. She passed away in sixth grade, which is why I had to move to Milford. Moved to Milford with my aunt. And then met Mike. Me and Mike been best friends since sixth grade all the way through high school. He went to Bridgewater. I went to UMass Dartmouth for 2 years, and then I transferred to Worcester State. I played basketball against Mike throughout all those 4 years. But like I said, basketball, man, was really the key to everything in my life. Got me to college, kept me around all my good people in college, met me all my good friends, and still to this day is a huge network that where I get to meet everybody in my life. And it's through that yellow orange thing that I call basketball, man. And it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. And ultimately, it got me my job now too because it got me my degree in college. So I didn't never thought I'd be a high school teacher as much as I hated school.
Mm.
And here I am thinking that if I could do it, then I can get all these kids to do it. So that's pretty much why I teach, coach, stay around the game. Not sure where I want to take the game of basketball, where I want it to go with training or teaching at a high school level or college level. I really have no idea. That's still kind of up in the air.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's pretty much a little bit of myself at the moment and a little bit of the past at the same time. But yeah.
Yeah. Was the plan always just basketball? Like, was that even going into college, in college, and then after, was it still your plan, or did you book decide on like an as an educator instead?
So I'd say like going into college, it was really like I just want to play basketball. My
Hmm.
major was business going into college freshman year. Everybody else was business. I really had no idea of college. I was just going to play basketball. And then halfway through my freshman year, I wasn't doing so well. And I'm like, I couldn't see myself in a cubicle around a screen doing numbers. I was taking accounting at 8 a.m. I was barely going. And I was like, I can't do this. I couldn't see this. And my friend brought it up and was like, don't you love coaching? And I'll never forget her name's Lauren Hanna. And I was like, yeah, I love it. And she was like, what about doing something like guidance or working in a high school or something like that? And I was like, my high school guidance counselor was a major influence on me and helped me get through high school. So I was like, yeah, I think that'd be a great idea. So I changed my major to psychology, and it was really kind of off and running. Knew I wanted to go with coaching, work in a school, going that route from that minute on. And it kind of helped me in college too because that business aspect, I don't know if I would have been able to do it because how much I didn't like school personally.
Yeah. So when did you start coaching then?
So I was coaching Milford basketball camp my senior year of high school. My coach used to let us help, so I started coaching doing that stuff over the summer. And then I was able to coach the summer league team because the varsity coach isn't able to coach. So I was able to
Okay.
coach the summer league team. And then the varsity team put an AAU team together. And that was really like the first team that I coached. It had my cousin on it, a couple of his good friends, which I'm good friends with now. And that was really the first team that I got to coach. And we would play AAU tournaments on the weekends. And it was over from there. I think I knew it from there. It was like, yep.
Yeah. So what was like one of the biggest impactful moments for you as a player versus now as a coach, getting to impact someone else?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like as a player from senior year of high school, I always felt like I would be a coach, like just the way we would
Okay.
watch the game. And I feel like my dad at one point said to me, like, "Do you watch the game?" I didn't even really know what he meant by that question. And then, like, as I watch the game now, I can watch plays, I can draw them up right after they run them. Watching TV, like some people just watch the ball go in the hoop, whether it was a 2 pointer or a 3 pointer. And I think from that moment on, I was like, wow, I really dissect the game, I think, more than other people. And that was where, as a player, it helped me on the basketball court too, because then it slowed down the game because then I was watching it. I would watch myself and then play in the game and it came really slower. And then that's when I knew it was just like that moment was like, do you watch the game? Like,
Hmm.
no. But yeah, I guess now I do. But now I understood that question. I never understood that question before. So I would say probably, yeah, that moment. And it definitely helped me as a player. And then I knew I'd be a coach from then because I could see the NBA game at
Yeah.
that level.
Yeah. So what about as a coach now? What have been some of maybe the more impactful moments for you in your young coaching career?
Oh man, coaching it's amazing. It's
Okay.
I love every part of it. Right now, currently my team's 0 and 13.
Okay.
And it's like, how do I get my 0 and 13 team? First of all, not a lot of them love the game of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So how do I get them to enjoy this for 2 hours a day while still being 0 and 13 and portraying my love of the game onto them
Mm-hmm.
without trying to force it, without trying to do too much. And I think they're doing a good job of starting to value their time there for 2 hours. And then I think just the joy in that and watching them come together and become friends when some of them don't like any of the same things at all. And you can see them hang out and become better individuals because ultimately is bigger than the game of basketball. And if I can get these dudes to be there for one another for life, like we were just talking about, it's all about who
Mm-hmm.
you know and
Yeah.
who knows where they're going to go to in life. So if we can ultimately build that relationship, the wins and losses don't matter. And I feel like our team's doing a very good job of that while we're getting better at the game of basketball. It's just not really showing up on the scoreboard right now.
Yeah. So how have you started to implement like I feel like with a coaching player relationship, I don't know like the percentage, so I'll say like 50-50. 50% of it is I want you to learn this skill, I want you to go win games, but at the same time the other 50% is I want to shape you into becoming just a better person. Where does that line kind of like draw for you? And how do you like know which hat to kind of put on in which moment for your players?
So I think both hats are on at all times. I think
Okay.
every time there's a lesson for them to learn. You know what
Mm,
I mean?
yeah.
Whether we win or lose, like you got to know how to win too. You
Hmm.
got to know how to lose, and you got to know how to handle yourself in all those situations. And I think part of my job is to be that role model. So I need to handle myself the right way before, and then they'll see, and then it will trickle down to everybody else. Um, but like I think ultimately it's more of every day they're growing individuals and they need that from them from somebody, not whether it's just me or their teammates themselves. They learn more from each other than they do probably from me every single day because they're around their interactions. And if we can form that as an identity as a team, then they're growing each and every day. But like to be 0 and 13, man, I hate losing. Like I've
Hmm.
never been on a losing team. And to be on this, like it frustrates me because I feel like I put 225% into this and I'm not getting that back. And it's part of we did a little thing. I read a passage of a book I read 80 the 85% solution, how personal
Hmm.
accountability can guarantee success. And I read them a little excerpt from that book about how we all need to be 100% accountable for what's going on here. And I feel like we're not doing that and some of us are. So it's just like though both those hats are on at the same
Yeah.
time to answer your question.
Do you think it's more difficult just because like they're younger players, like they're just in high school. Like someone in college might take the game a little bit more seriously, but as someone in high school, maybe they're more just doing it for fun or just like a recreational activity.
Oh yeah, 100%, man, 100%. Like I think as you get to those levels, those hats can come on and off at different times. I mean, I don't know. I've only been a player at the college level. I've never been a
Mm-hmm.
coach at that level, so I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't say it for sure. But like, I know for me as a player and all my teammates, like we loved the game, and that was why we were in college.
Mm,
So it definitely made it easier on coach for the basketball aspect because it's like I don't need to ask you to play hard today because you're probably giving this to me anyway.
yeah.
With high school kids, you have no idea what's going on in their world today. Their girlfriend could have broke up with them this morning and they don't want to practice hard this afternoon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have no idea what's going on in their lives at 14 to 17 years old, and that's tough to manage in itself.
Yeah. Now, how did you start coaching for New Human and Mike?
So when Mike started New Human, man, I was like loving it. I was getting through workouts with him. He would send me programs. And then ultimately when he was expanding the team, I told him, like, as his friend, man, I just want to help you in any way possible. Like, what can I do to help your brand? Like, I don't even want to be compensated for it, to be honest with you. Like, just let me
Mm-hmm.
know what I can do to help your brand and let's do it. And he was like, let me think of it. And then he was like, you could do all the basketball stuff. You could be the coach on the basketball team. Like, I know we're going to get a ton of athletes and they're going to want to ask basketball workout stuff. Like, you can do that aspect of it. I'm like, man, let's do it. And now we do a bunch of like clinics together where I'll do a basketball clinic. He'll put the kids through a workout. It's a great dynamic of it. And yeah, it was just mostly to help his business grow and whatever I could do to help it.
Hmm. So, um, kind of to bounce around a little bit, but you had also talked about how you were field hockey coach. I know that like field hockey and basketball are trained differently in terms of like maybe speed and agility drills
Yeah.
and things like that. But what about like strength training drills? Are those different or a strength training routine, not drills per se? But is that like
Yeah.
super different or do they have some overlap?
Well, I think a lot of it is different, mostly because of the age of the girls that I have. Like,
Oh,
so
okay,
I'm the
okay.
JV coach in the
Mm-hmm.
range of our kids. Like, I have seventh and eighth graders that compete against
Oh, okay.
ninth and 10th graders because of just the numbers that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, our varsity field hockey team starts three seventh graders.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like to put them through weight training stuff, it's a lot different.
Yeah.
More of our stuff is like conditioning, getting them to run farther. Like we do miles every Friday, trying to get their times down, things like that. Rather than getting in the gym. I know myself and the varsity coach, we definitely talk about getting sores in there for things that we can do.
Mm-hmm.
It's just hard with the big dynamic of having 30 girls and half of them are
Hmm.
seventh and eighth graders and half of them are juniors and seniors. So it's just a tough dynamic. It's a very good question.
Yeah. So for basketball, what is like a normal basketball like warm up, and then actual training routine, and then like post like cool down look like?
So you mean them fitness wise, like in the fitness room
I wouldn't think of like in the gym so much. Like I'm thinking
or
more
like
of
our
like,
practice schedule?
yeah, more of like a practice type schedule.
So for our practice, they do like this little warm up where they go up, down, up the alley, they shuffle, they slide, they come back. And then they do dynamic stretching as a group. Then they'll finish with some static stretching. And then normally I like to get skills in first.
Mm-hmm.
So like we'll do some ball handling, some different passing drills, where they got to reach a goal too. So it's not just where we're just doing the drill just to do the drill. We'll do different things where like they got to reach a certain goal. If they don't reach the goal, they got to run. If they don't reach it within three times, they have to do which is a minute drill, which is five up and backs in a minute. So like they press themselves to try to get it by three. And then we try to get into some team stuff, which is like whether we're depending on the opponent we got, whether we're going to work on our zone offense, man offense, our press, different things like that. And we always have like a skills time too, where we call it stations. We
Mm-hmm.
got to work on everything, man. Layups, block shots, ball handling. Like we do all that stuff every single day just because I don't think we touch a basketball in the 8 months outside of basketball. So the
Mm-hmm.
more that we can do the stuff that people would just be doing naturally at the park, the more it would help. So, and I tell these kids this all the time. This is why we're doing this stuff. So, And then ultimately we'll finish with scrimmaging. We do different 4-minute quarters throughout practice too. So like we'll finish with the skills and then we'll throw a 4-minute quarter in there where they'll play our different offenses, different defenses. And it's competitive too, where they'll lose by their sprints. So it's just kind of mixing in a bunch of different things. And then cool down to be game days, practices day before game days. We do half court shots. We do 3 seconds on the clock, throw up some half court shots. First one to make it, gym goes crazy. We like it situationally too, though, because you never know in a game whether you're going to need that. So it's like you are practicing something at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's pretty much what our practices look like at BMR.
So what starts to separate some of the average players to like an elite talent?
Oh, it's the 8 months outside of the 3 months that you play. If
So what are
you're
they?
not, no, go ahead. You can.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are some of like the specific things that they need to be doing, like work wise?
So like well, you don't even really have to have a trainer. Well, like
Mm-hmm.
if you have a trainer, whether it's like a skills trainer or even a fitness trainer, one or the other, like you're already putting yourself ahead of somebody else, just getting in that hour, 2 hours a week with somebody that does this for a living.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then just ultimately just touching the ball and working on different things. And whether you're playing 3-on-3, whether you're getting a skills workout in with the trainer or getting a skills workout in with a friend, like you're finding ways to put the ball in the hoop when it's not just the 3 months of the season when you're running your plays with your coach. And if you're not doing that extra stuff, man, there's kids that are going to pass you every single day because there's kids that are hooping every day. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
not doing that stuff, you can't play November, December, January, February and think you're going to be good.
So were you one of the guys that was doing that, putting the work in, like all 12 months, or no?
Oh yes,
Like throughout your
Soar
whole.
for the most part, yeah. High school, like Soars and I, we were at the town park in Milford every day for hours, man. Sun up, sun down. Like just hooping. Like we still got plays 1 and 2. Him and I could play 2-on-2 right now, run 1 and 2 because we've just done it so many times. Like that's just
Mm,
how many times we've played 2-on-2 and just went hooping at the park because that's how we got better. We were not one of the best players in the class in 8th grade. And
yeah.
for both of us to go play college basketball, it was kind of like, all right, these kids were doing something.
How do you think learning that work ethic at such a young age has kind of um made an impact on your work ethic now?
Oh, I think it's tremendous, man, because it led me to win. Like we were
Mm,
district championship in high school, Final Four team in the state, and just watching my growth of the game of basketball from when I started playing and organized in 6th grade to now, man, like you would never know that I would be this good, or I never thought I would be this good. But yeah, and I think it helps with everything now because I know what I can do, especially school wise. Like, never
mm-hmm.
thought I'd get a college degree, but the game of basketball made me work for it, studying for things I never wanted to study for. And it helps me in my job now. I got to write IEPs that I don't want to write, but I got to write it. And it's the work that I'm going to put in to get what I need to get. So I think it helped. Man, the game of basketball has changed my life tremendously.
Yeah. Do you see some of yourself in some of your players now? Like some of your own characteristics or tendencies?
So I think we're trying. We're getting there. You know what I mean? And I
Mm-hmm.
think your team style does reflect on who your coach is.
Mm-hmm.
And my boys play hard, and I always thought I played hard, whether it was on the offensive end, defensive end, press in, whatever it was. I always thought I played hard. And right now we're playing hard. And if we could get the skills down and we keep working at it and understand how to play the game of basketball, which we're taking steps forward with it every day. But yeah, definitely. And I think I want to play at a faster pace. I think that'd be nicer. I like to get out and transition and go. But I think that also comes with the understanding. So when that comes, we'll be able to play at that pace too. But then you'll be able to see more of it. But yeah, I definitely see that just aspect of us just nitty gritty. We're the kind of like the underdog and we're going to play because my career in college didn't really start off too hot with me starting and playing. So I was always just trying to grind and practice. And I think our practices and all that stuff is starting to get a little bit to where I wanted to look at.
So what happened when you were in college? Were you coming off the bench or were you not
So,
getting enough minutes?
so
How did that start?
freshman year at UMass Dartmouth, I played 26 minutes in 26 games.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't play a minute in every single game. I didn't play my first game till our trip down in Miami, which was like the ninth game of the year.
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't even expecting to play, but I was really killing in practice. I was
Mm-hmm.
arguably the best player in practice. And in one game, coach was like, Aaron, I didn't even know how to take my warm up off because it's just been, I never had taken it off. I was just trying to rip it off. And I got a little bit of a chance, but other than that, was just blowout garbage time. My sophomore year, we had this kid, Jordan, man, my brother transfer in, scored 500 points that year as a guard. Like, there
Wow.
was just no time for me. Came in and was the best player in the league. He ended up scoring 1,800 points in 2 years. Like, the kid was nasty. So that's when I was like, I got to get up out of here. I need to
Okay.
go find somewhere I'm going to play. But I loved UMass Dartmouth. I loved Coach Bapp. I learned a lot from him. I steal a lot of stuff that I do now that I learned from him as a player.
Mm-hmm.
If I would have played, I would have stayed there, but I just knew I wasn't going to play. And so I transferred to Worcester State. My junior year at Worcester State, I played in almost every single game, played like 8 to 12 minutes a game.
Mm-hmm.
But like in that type role, and I tell the kids all the time, like I've been on every role on every team, so I feel your pain. I've been the dude that don't play. I've been the dude that's been in the game like this situation, 8 to 12 minutes a game. You don't want to make a mistake because if you make a mistake, you're coming out. So
Mm-hmm.
you play nervous. You don't play how you want to play. You feel like coach is always on your back. The next guy's coming in. So like that's a tough spot to play in. And my senior year, we were very good my junior year. We were 15-5,
Mm-hmm.
lost to Westfield in the first round. That was the year Soares and them won it, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
And then my senior year, we started out 0-8, and I was still playing kind of like the same role, 10 to 12 minutes a game. I was in coach's office like every month, like, coach, what do I have to do to play? Like, what am I doing wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And we had my roommate, Jamal, rest in peace, Jamal, he quit the team. And then our senior captain quit on our ninth game at halftime. We got our first win, and then we ended up just going on a run. I ended up starting games. We ended up playing 30 minutes a game. We ended up going on a run, finished fourth in the MASCAC, go on to play Salem in the finals of the MASCAC tournament. Soares lost to Salem at the buzzer, or else we would have played Bridgewater in the finals. And we ended up losing to Salem at Salem because our 6'9" big man, the first 4 minutes of the game, went for a chase down block and dislocated his kneecap,
Oh,
which was
wow.
pretty gross.
Yeah.
And in a Division III basketball game, when you lose a 6'9" dude, it changes the whole complexity of the
Mm.
game. So that, yeah, we ended up losing by 20 points, but just that whole up and down and not playing to starting and going to the conference finals and really getting that 1 year of doing it. It was like I've grinded and worked for this.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear about your roommate Jamal first off,
I
but
appreciate it, bro. Thank you.
how did you not have feel like what did you do if you had feelings of like self-doubt, things like that during those 2 years where you really weren't playing at all? How did you not get down on yourself, or how did you start to overcome uh like those thoughts and feelings and just keep pushing?
Like, honestly, I've never been asked that question before at that point and like ever about that
Mm-hmm.
situation. So to think about it now, I'd probably just say it's the love of the game
Mm.
and where it got me. Like, personally, I was just happy to be a part of that, to be
Okay.
a college basketball player. I got the gear, we get the buzz, like what it brings in college. Like, I loved every aspect of that part of it too. And I also just loved playing the game of basketball every single day. I had great teammates. Coach was great. It's not like it was like a toxic environment where it sucked being there every single day. I loved competing against those dudes. Coach was cool. All my assistants coaches were cool. One of my assistant coaches now is a varsity basketball coach in the same league as me, so I play him 2 times a year. They beat us by friggin' 30 points the other night. Um, but yeah, I think ultimately it was probably just the love of the game and grinding this thing out. Like, this thing got me here. This thing's about to give me a degree and give me a piece of paper to be a teacher and the whole nine and just transform my whole life. So I think it was just the fact of being there and still playing the game of basketball.
So do you think that, let's say maybe your senior year hadn't panned out the same way that it had, let's say that you were still in that like 8 to 12 minute mark, but it still led you to where you are now? Do you think you'd still have that same love and desire for the game, or do you think it would have changed a little bit?
No, but I think I don't know if I would have became because I'm way better than I am now than I was in college.
Yep.
I'm not sure I would have progressed my game the way that it has now.
Mm,
So then I wouldn't have the confidence that I do now to play in the men's leagues that I do, to coach the way that I do, I guess. But no, because I love basketball, and it's
mm-hmm,
been the only thing I remember having my whole life through ups, downs, everything was a basketball and some music.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's I don't know what's going to happen with the game of basketball, but I know it's always going to be a major impact in my life.
Yeah. So these men's leagues, do you play in a lot of them or just a couple of them? Are they super competitive? Are they with like guys that could have gone to the NBA but had a small injury, or what's kind of the I'm not sure what I
So
should.
not so nothing. Yeah, what kind of competition or what
Oh,
type of
yes,
leagues?
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
um, I wouldn't say the leagues are that good. Like dudes that could
Hmm.
go NBA, but there are some dudes that play overseas right now. There's a bunch
Hmm.
of dudes in the league that still play D3, D2. Um, bunch of guys that did and play now. The league's very competitive. That's the summer session. Like the summer session is very, very good.
Hmm.
I used to play in it when we were in going into college and then in college. In my first 3 years in the league, we didn't win a game. Me,
Mm,
Soares, a bunch of other dudes that we went to high school with, we were all about to be college players, and we're like, all right, we're gonna win this league, and we didn't even win a game.
wow.
Now my teams are pretty competitive because like we're older guys, we know how to play. It was a men's league, like it's a lot different. So, but the leagues are pretty good. I play um, in the summer and the fall session, but I'm in the session right now, and I've only been to one game just because it's tough with practices and stuff. Sometimes I get out at 8:30. The game's at 9:20.
Yeah.
I'm not making the drive to Mansfield to go play at 9:20 to get home, and then I like try to go to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I try to get some sleep. So we'll see if that works out. But like if I'm
Mhm.
playing a game at 9:20 in Mansfield, it's probably not working out for me.
Yeah.
But I love playing still. It's
So
cool.
what is the um like why is playing overseas so intriguing to a lot of guys?
Man, that's a great question because personally, I think I could go do it. Like I
Hmm.
really think I could go play at some level overseas because there's some dudes that I hooped against in college that I was probably just as good as then, if not better than, and they're playing now. And I feel like if I still put in as much work as I do, like I'm still getting better, but I don't refine my skills every day and do the whole
Hmm.
nine. And if I feel like I was doing it like I was, I could go do it. But I don't know. I think some people are still chasing hoop dreams,
Hmm.
like think that we could go to the NBA, or maybe it's just like that deep love for the game. I just have found it in a different avenue.
Hmm.
I think if I were to go play overseas, I'm probably going to make less money and my living's going to be completely different
Hmm.
living in a foreign country than leave what I have here already in my career, my job, and different things like that. So I think maybe it's just the love of the game of basketball, man. Some people can't stop dribbling the thing, can't stop
Yeah.
playing. And
So
if you're called a professional too,
did you have dreams of going to the NBA when you were younger or even in high school, college, things like that?
100%,
Yeah.
100%.
When did you have to accept that that dream wasn't going to happen?
Probably like eighth grade, ninth grade,
Okay.
because you just look around.
Hmm.
You got to be a realist, man. You can see what's going on around you, and it's like, bro, some of these dudes are way better than me, and
Hmm.
like my ceiling is not even close to being that high.
Yeah.
And I feel like a part of that is pretty good reality check though, because it's
Hmm.
like you can now work for something else. And
Mm.
then like at that age, you didn't know. I didn't know how good Division 3 college basketball players were, Division 2 college basketball players were. The goal was just I want to play on TV,
Yeah.
right? Like watching a college basketball game, if that's where you want to play at.
Yeah.
So, but I think it changed that level of it.
So how would you approach the conversation of, let's say you had a player that really, really wanted to go to the NBA, but you knew that you don't think that they could make it there? Would you want to be the one to tell them or let them figure it out on themselves?
I think it depends on like how close that player was.
Mm-hmm.
Like if that kid didn't even have a chance to be a college basketball player,
Mm-hmm.
you got to, because at some point they're gonna have to look at this game of basketball. If they love it, depends on their love of the game too. But like if they love this game, you're not going to this level. And like I said, you need to gonna have to work for something else. Like, do you want to be a coach? Do you want to be a ref? Like, what do you want to do in this game? Because this is gonna be really heartbreaking if you don't figure this out soon. So I think I'd rather be the person to tell them,
Mm.
but I don't think like they need to know,
Yeah.
because like it's unrealistic, man. That's very unrealistic, especially if you don't have the skill. If you have the skill and they were like a high Division 1 player, man, I'm probably chasing that dream until I can't chase that dream anymore. That
Okay.
would just be my advice. Because
Now,
if I was in that situation, that's what I would do.
yeah. So let's say one of the, uh, in a couple years, you have a guy, you're at the same school, but have a guy that, could possibly be going to, um, the NBA or a Division 1 school. How are you starting to shape the offense around him, depending on like his skills?
So, like big man, you got to get that ball inside, especially if you play where our league, man.
Mm-hmm.
We had a 7 footer. He went to BC actually. He went to Whitensville Christian. Went to BC. Played pretty well, um, and everything was just centered around him. They just got the ball inside, kicked it out. He blocked shots. Nobody even wanted to go inside. Kids were petrified to death. It would change the whole dynamic of everything. And like they bring doubles, but you're still going to have 4 players on the basketball court that can play around him.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, he'll be able to dominate the game, but like they're going to double, triple. You're going to have somebody that can put a layup in off a cut and understand how to cut off a double team. And that would be easy to teach, I think, because it's simple reading an open floor. I say it's simple now, but we're 0-13 and can't find those spots right now. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, it would change the dynamics of everything. Everything. You
So
better
what
win the state title.
so what advice would you give someone that wants to get into coaching?
You got to like kids.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be able to deal with this every day, because every day, man, I get something. I get something, and usually it's not good. Like whether it's an email from a teacher, something from the principal, and managing 29, 14 to 18-year olds. It's something every single day. So, one, you got to like kids, and you got to be willing to work a lot of hours.
Okay.
And if you're willing to do that, then man, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy every minute of it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't trade my team for the world. I wouldn't trade the 2 hours I get to spend with them every single day. It's an amazing experience watching them grow, and then to be able to have them after, like a bunch of my players, older players, texted me on my birthday a couple weeks ago, like "Happy birthday, coach! Hope all is well. Can we come to practice?" Like that love and support that's always there is like we're trying to build a family atmosphere around here. So if we can do that, then we're doing something right.
Yeah. As we kind of wrap up here, one of the last questions I want to bring to you, how do you think you can be a better mentor going forward to uh the players?
It's a very good question, man. It's a very good question. I like it. I like it a lot. Um, I think it's ultimately still trying to build who I am as a person,
Hmm.
and what I have done and what I need to continue to do. So like I'm on way to go get my master's. It's
Hmm.
like I'm still working towards my education, and it still works towards like I hated school, but here I am still doing it because I have to do it to continue my job, to continue to do coaching, to continue to do this stuff. So I think it's still continue to build my resume, still continue to meet good people,
Hmm.
because they need to have good people in their life. But if I'm not continuing to better myself, then I can't continue to better them. Um, and ultimately, that's what it's about. Whether we're going to win 15 games or be 0-13 like we are right now, it's bigger than the game of basketball, and I have to make sure that I'm doing my part in order for them to get avenues that I want them to be able to go to, or that they want to go to for themselves.
Yeah. If and I'll wrap things up with one more question here. If you couldn't play or coach basketball anymore, what do you think you would be doing?
It's another very good question, bro. Because it's funny, I've been trying to think of like, do I want to take one-on-one training full time? Like Mike and I
Hmm.
have gone back and forth, and like is that something I want to do rather than be a teacher.
Hmm.
But if I wasn't coaching or teaching, what would I be doing? Honestly, man, I have no clue. Like, I have
That's all
no
right.
idea. I've
Yeah.
never even really thought about that because it's been every part of it. Like, I went to
Hmm.
college for business and I couldn't see myself being an accountant or helping somebody with their money.
Hmm.
I used to work for AAA back in college. That was pretty cool. Used to
Okay.
do some landscaping back in college.
Okay.
That was pretty cool. Definitely something hands-on, definitely some like manual labor or something like that because I
Yeah.
can't be sitting still. I can't be in an office. My ADHD would run through the roof. So I'm gonna need something to do. So probably something along those lines, but I've never given that any thought because I'm pursuing this until I can't pursue it anymore.
That's right. I didn't think you needed to give it like a ton of like don't not be able to fall asleep at tonight because of
Right.
it. That's it. But all right, sweet. How I just end my podcast, just um where we can find you as long as you're cool with that, in case someone wants to brush up on their skills or learn a little bit more about you, things like that.
Absolutely. So I'm on Facebook. Obviously, my Facebook is Aaron Anniballi. I'm on Instagram. I have a personal account, which is at low key nice, and I have a coach's account, which is at Coach Anniballi underscore. And if you're interested in following the Chargers, we have a Chargers account, which is the varsity basketball team that I coach. It's at Chargers underscore basketball. I'm not
Okay.
too accurate on that. I'm sorry.
All
I'm
right,
gonna
I'll
have to
look it
get
up
back on
and
that, but I'm
no
sorry.
worries.
But
No,
yeah, no,
you're
those
good.
are all my socials.
All right, cool. Sweet. Thanks for coming on, Aaron. All right.
No, I appreciate you. Thank you for having me, Sean. It's great to meet you.
All right, sweet. You too.